breaking news, the LAPD in pursuit of a stolen vehicle.
Stu Mendel live overhead for us right now. Stu, looks like that car's moving pretty fast.
Yeah.
Well, Juan Crystal, you did just before you went live, it just had a head-on collision out here. Looks like we're on Montgomery. You can see that vehicle, stolen vehicle, driving very erratically. LAPD working the situation the best they can with what they have. They don't want to really pressure this person because of the problems they were having just a few moments ago with this vehicle going head-on into another vehicle. On the freeway, high speeds, lights are off at some points. I got to tell you, we're just trying to catch up. You can see damage on the front of that car. They turned the lights off when he was on the freeway earlier on. He was on the 5 northbound, transitioned onto the 118, and then basically got back off the freeway, going against traffic again, making another wide turn. And apparently we have tape of that crash just moments before we went live. You can see right there the streets where we're at right now. LAPD, though, they're kind of backing off right now. They had one head-on collision. That's pretty much bad enough. But you can see this car still driving very erratically, cutting other vehicles off. Other people there on Devonshire actually slowing down. The car is blacked out, and apparently the streets that he picks, I don't know if this is on purpose or if it is just the way it is tonight, but he's definitely picking streets that are not well lit. You can see just a shadow of that car. We're basically racing down the street right there. We know that's going to be Devonshire. His speed's higher than what's going on the streets, and of course he went head-on into another car just moments ago. So desperate driver, stolen vehicle, and ridiculous driving as he's turning southbound onto Woodman.
Yes, Stu, we're watching this unfold there. For viewers who haven't seen this new technology yet, we're using this map tracker technology. You can see the streets that Stu's on above the pursuit right now, giving us a better idea as to where this pursuit is going. Now, Stu, this car, is it an older model car? I mean, I know you're still a distance away, but after that head-on collision, it didn't look like that car had too much damage, and it just kept on going. Some of these older cars are built a little stronger.
Well, you know, Ron, it might not have been that fast, but I can assure you if you were in that other car, you would not be saying the same thing. Anybody slamming into you as you're just driving along head-on, that's not going to be something that, you know, anybody is going to tolerate very well. Right now we're using the speedometer because, you know, we haven't heard them calling out any speeds. It seems like he's driving a little bit quicker than what the normal traffic is out here, but you can see by that speedometer going about 40 miles an hour. Also very erratic driving. That's one of the reasons why we're having a little bit of trouble keeping that car just in the shot this evening. Basically making that pirouette, well, we're making a pirouette as he's driving underneath us. This is going to be Van Nuys Boulevard that you can see that right there, but this is an area where we're going to be joining into the Panorama City area. Brendan working desperately looking for it. I can tell you, Brendan, he's right underneath us there, but he's going to be in the Panorama City area shortly, running red lights. There's another one. You see other cars locking them up. So this is one of those ones where LAPD is going to have to make that decision if they want to re-engage that pursuit to help warn the public, because this person not slowing down as he's continuing on Van Nuys Boulevard, going to be entering the Panorama City here in just a moment.
So, Stu, they were pursuing him for a while. You were saying they backed up a little bit because of the high speeds and the erratic driving?
I'm sorry, I was just working with Brennan just for a moment. Well, the high speeds and the erratic driving, definitely, that's the wobble point. That's one of those times when I always say that, you know, I would not want to be the person to make that decision, because in a way you're damned if you do and you're darned if you do and darned if you don't. You know, if they back off and they just let this vehicle drive and he crashes into somebody, well then, you know, the public opinion be, why didn't you warn him? Why didn't you chase him? So it's a very difficult situation. It looks like we're going to be staying away from the Panorama City area and start working our way into the Van Nuys area, and I am listening, and they are saying that they are going to try to back off, so we might see those vehicles that you see right there with its lights and sirens might go off, but Earlier on, they weren't there, and the driving was not any better. It's just very erratic driving this evening, very dangerous situation, and of course that's a stolen vehicle, so we don't have that much information on that driver, but apparently really desperately trying to get away this evening.
Stu, I know this area really well. The streets are long, and then you kind of come up to these large intersections where actually when I drive through, I'm concerned for these types of drivers, pursuits, because look how huge the intersection is. There's several cars. It's a busy area, and you can pick up speed really fast, and then there's another intersection. So this is very dangerous. So I can understand why officers might want to back off a little bit because the area is populated, and if this guy's as desperate as you say, it could get nasty.
Yeah, just blew a red light right there.
Yeah, right there.
Yep. And a lot of traffic underneath that freeway right there. He's just weaving his way out. North Hills is the area right now. A big dip right there in the roadway. On Nordoff, you guys can see that. LAPD, though, they're using that light to basically just kind of give everybody heads up. And there you go. There's that crazy erratic driving, a little bit against traffic. He's just weaving and swerving, and it just seems like every opportunity he has to be erratic, he's been taking it. And that's so dangerous for the public at large. Very high speeds, and then of course what almost seemed to be an intentional head-on collision earlier on. Of course, we mentioned it wasn't like a high speed. He wasn't going 40 miles an hour, but still enough to damage the front of that vehicle. And of course, we're hoping that person he hit in that vehicle is going to be okay. The damage maybe not so significant, but right now higher speeds. You can see it right there, 70 miles an hour. That's on Nordoff. This is a very residential area here in North Hills. Also is an area that I think, that's Parthenia, where it gets a little bit darker on these streets out here. But you can see how quickly he's moving past everybody, running red lights. I'm just so worried for the public.
You can really see how quickly he's picked up the pace there, Stu, as we're monitoring this pursuit from Sky 9 there. Again, this is a pursuit of a stolen car. Started right around about 8:30 or so tonight. This is apparently a stolen car. As Stu mentioned, there was a crash earlier tonight right around Paxton. As police were pursuing them. But
that pursuit started about at 8:30 p.m. that night, where the stolen car had been stolen. I'm sorry. This pursuit started about 5, 10, or 15 minutes ago. The pursuit continued its way. Then moments before he hits a car, earlier on when I was just listening in for the last several minutes, he speeded up, and then he got locked up behind traffic, and then turns right, marks his territory to get his way. The suspect completely driving very erratically at high speeds. They want to go into tracking mode, so the civilians are not getting involved in this pursuit because they don't care. They're doing their own thing, staying in their own lane, behaving themselves, not being involved. And I know the turn lane he's been driving trying to go against traffic, no traffic in front of that car, and that he's trying to turn left, and now he wants to keep going. The LAPD units trying to get behind that car, and then the police air unit with the night with the night sun that's overhead, and the TV news helicopters that's behind that. So driving that's been so erratic that evening several years ago. The lights were off. The suspect was in the car, and it sounds strange. They're hoping that maybe there's been some damage. That's stolen older vehicle, Toyota Camry or Cressida, or I don't even know that. Oh my God, 2 collisions earlier on. Thank goodness he didn't get T-boned. That individual stopped. They're very close calls. LAPD they're doing what they can to keep the public safe, and they talk with law enforcement. Like they always say it's like the officers. They have rules to follow the public, and they are very concerned about the driver hurting somebody or hitting everybody. And the criminal acts in the vehicle, making his or her own rules. They're out there on the streets. Doesn't seem like the vehicle slowing down, making a left turn, and he couldn't see because The right headlight been missing now. Wow. And now it's been damaged and then slowing down again, speeding up. They're going to confirm what they have made what they made a right-hand turn, and then when they were on Roscoe Boulevard, 5 or 10 minutes they did make a right-hand turn on Roscoe Boulevard about 5 or 10 minutes ago. And now the pursuit continues on the North Ridge. This is a stolen car, the older model Toyota that they saw crash earlier tonight. So far, front damage, rear side, no, I don't think it had damage. Going at about 40 to 50 miles an hour, then 35 miles an hour, which is normally. They could do a pit maneuver if they have a chance. Surface streets were extremely dangerous. You never know who's crossing, or who's going, and then the suspect has no regard to the oncoming traffic. Yet another intersection, as they were saying, streets in San Fernando Valley, making a left turn. Oh my God, wide left-hand turn, and then southbound Wilbury from Roscoe that they made a right-hand turn. And then technically still in Northridge. They're near the Northridge Hospital, and then it was just a few moments ago they were looking outside, probably going to be getting into the Cuenca area, possibly Topanga Canyon, if they can keep this driving up. If he has a chance to get on the freeway, that's fine. That's totally up to that suspect. He wants to drive recklessly and speeding at 70 miles an hour. I think they have a chance to do a stop stick. I'm not sure. I don't know. They don't know. Let the suspect do what he wants, because nobody should be, because it's like nobody's going to be involved chasing that suspect. Don't try to be a hero or whatsoever. You've gone through this evening, wild solid reds going in, very dangerous. The car continuing to move along out there. This evening, it looks like it's going to be a slower, but still not slow enough stop. The optimal speed for this vehicle was seeing that damage right there on Sherman White coming up, and they were talking and then about the valley, and the Sherman Oaks area that he was going to come up. The suspect almost hits the car downtown surface streets a little, and then the officers had been pursuing that vehicle eyes wider in their veins, professionalism, in their own criminal minds. Like a TV show that's on CBS, they're trying to keep the public safe, trying to get the suspect to stop, bring this thing to an end without everybody getting involved, without nobody getting hurt. Thankfully, it's going to be peaceful. They're going to keep the motoring public safe still. They're very concerned about that suspect going at high speeds because that's their main concern. This pursuit has been going on. What do you mean half an hour? It started about 8:30 tonight. It started at about 8:30 p.m. for the last several minutes. This pursuit, he was on the surface streets earlier on, and then one point, this is the streets right there, that this pursuit continuing on right now. At one point, they're going to pull back, but another red light continuing on the. Oh my God. What is this individual doing, swerving around? On both sides, you see the police air units, the TV news helicopters, and the police units on the ground. Law enforcement LAPD vehicle right there at the intersection kind of spooked him. But the reality was that car actually they're trying to keep the public safe. They didn't have the lights and sirens. They didn't know how close this vehicle was speeds. They've just been bumping all over the place to place. He's been going fast and relatively slow. Fast now, they're on Oxnard and LAPD, getting closer. This is the street that's a little bit more wide open. That they're dealing with the vehicle. They're going to use caution. They're going to use caution here. This car is extremely fast moving. Continuing on, winding southbound turns, wrong lanes. It's been so dangerous. Hair-raising pin turns, and as that evening, watching this car continue to just avoid accidents. And the older 1980s car does not have a collision system. It does have a exterior safety features. That's a safety and protection. Safety and protection. That's 50,000 miles 4 years warranty on the Toyota 1988 Toyota Camry or Cressida. I don't know which car. They're going to get very busy up there. And he's been on this for a long, long period of time. In Reseda, he's now heading towards, as of right now, a lot of businesses out there past the car dealership. Keeping an eye on that in this vehicle, as they're probably going to get into that Reseda area that he is on right now. He has a chance to get on the highway, or he could continue on the surface streets. And he's going to be blowing through a stop intersection, blowing through stop sections, blowing through stop signs, reaching 100 miles an hour. Those were not meant to 100 miles an hour. 35, 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. Wow! An intersection, he's barreling those, passing those cars on the left and the right in front of him, and then collided with a bus earlier, collided with that SUV earlier on. And then the LAPD got in front of that, and now that was near Paxton. Does he know how to drive? Does he know how to keep the car straight? Going right, it's close to that freeway he could have got on entirely. This is the pursuit of that stolen car. He once again almost into that turn lane 2 times now, and then turns into lanes, blowing through that area. Of course, faster, then he goes slower. The reaction time, and there's an actual reaction behind the wheels, and you know what's coming up in the next 10 seconds. This is extremely in the pursuit. They may be going into tracking mode for a while because of that erratic, ridiculous, reckless driving. And why the LAPD continues? They want to stay in pursuit of that SUV, even though they want to be in tracking mode and chase the suspect at the same time. And the TV news helicopters are doing a great job, what I believe. LAPD units, they got passed by the car. And what they do there, another intersection with a solid red, a number of officers, they're just keeping the public safe, holding traffic to make sure that nobody's involved, nobody tries to steal it for the suspect. Nobody tries to steal it from the suspect, because they are making sure that he doesn't steal it from the suspect that's on the high-speed chase. As I said, let the suspect continue at high speeds until this thing comes to an end in the next half hour. What I can tell you is that they can all be that cool. They want to have to realize that they're in college town up here, turning on to staying away from that. Thank God. This is going to be a Sherman way. Heading back towards the Van Nuys area, 405 freeway, high up, stolen vehicle, and then they can't say exactly that they haven't heard the exact age of the car. This is the late 80s Toyota Corolla. Not the newest vehicle, old and junkyard, oldest stolen vehicle, one collision minor, passing on the left, and then speeding up 70, 80 miles an hour on Northridge surface streets. He's gonna end up killing somebody or crashing into somebody if the suspect continues. There's not an innocent person out there that's just out there driving, and nobody's involved. Thank goodness the LAPD did make sure that nobody's involved, and then the LAPD already made sure that these bystanders does not steal it from the suspect. Thank goodness they never stole it from the suspect. That's why they don't try to be, and that's why they're not involved in this pursuit, is the civilians and the bystanders. And the flat hood, flat trunk, flat roof, and the car from the 80s or early 90s, when there's luxury cars in the planet, safe enough, powerful enough, luxurious enough, and then 2000s Y2K era for navigation systems, and then you might see what's going on in their own mind, or satellite radio commercial free, blah blah blah, hundreds of channels, scoring their own disc tracks, and then they're on Roscoe. They were on Roscoe a few moments ago. Now turning onto Balboa, and then off the Van Nuys area, out of the Van Nuys area, and at the North Hills area, North Ridge, Next one is going to be Sardinia coming up here in just a moment or two, which is another a larger intersection that right there, red lights out here that evening. One green, he's making towards back to Nordhoff, where that pursuit, one of those streets, I don't know where that he started on. Yeah. When he had gotten off the freeway, he got off the freeway earlier on before the news helicopters, police air units jumped overhead. The suspect was on the freeway. The stolen beat-up car was on the freeway and then got off the freeway earlier on. That's what I'm hearing, according to their words. And then definitely coming up in Nordhoff, in a larger street that they're on Nordhoff right now, turning right, and then surface streets that back towards the Panorama City area. And once again, it's between, hopefully, they're going to keep the public, they're going to try to chase him a little bit later if he starts slowing down. Going to be passing green lights, posing a territory mark threat to any other commuter, trying to get revenge. And now, wow, going on the wrong side of the road, the LAPD pulling that vehicle over, but the LAPD not involved in it right now. They have to deal with the traffic stuff. Then they'll get back into that pursuit. I know people are thinking from the officers, but purposely then when they do pick up a chase, unless when there's an armed robbery suspect that's going on an hour long, 3 hours or so, and then 6 hours later that's come to an end. And then one point, they didn't want to hurt somebody. He didn't want to hurt somebody, and now wanting to hurt everybody. That's so terrifying, so troubling to those commuters. Wow, those are innocent bystanders are very, they hope and pray. This pursuit has been going on for about 20 to 25 minutes. This pursuit has been going on for about 20 to 25 minutes since the police started this chase. They were a little bit closer to the 101 freeway, and then the 118 freeway, then the ways to the 118 freeway that he has to get on. I know a ways. They're going to have a freeway coming up in just a moment, and now the pursuit continues on. And this pursuit has been going on for about 20 minutes. This pursuit has been going on for about 20 minutes since the police started. This pursuit has been going on for about 20 minutes since the police started this chase. Now it's been going on for about 20 to 25 minutes since the police started this chase. Now you see crossing underneath the 405 freeway in Nordhoff and 405 freeway that he's crossing, and now you see going the wrong side of the road. Wow! Oh my God! Hitting that minivan, and now trying to get off the freeway. My God! That's another collision that is so, oh my God, so scary. Crazy this evening. This car still on the move. This is amazing that they haven't seen damage to any other of the vehicles. Well, most on his way is, this is so dangerous. Turning left into Sepulveda, going past that bakery truck. And I can tell you, they're wide right there. And it's going to get much wider if he continues in that northbound direction. That vehicle continues, and those helicopters have been following it overhead for about 25 to 30 minutes since the police started this chase. They're talking about ambulance right now making another U-turn. They're going to get involved right now. They're going to not get involved. They're going to get onto the scene. That these caused two accidents so far. The LAPD making a U-turn. Now, once again, damage to that vehicle. And he's showing disrespect to the motoring public, showing no respect to the motoring public and to those commuters. Correctly, this car had made the turn. To see the hood is buckled a little bit. The car had sustained a lot of damage during the course of this pursuit. And then a few moments ago, the minivan was T-boned by that car, trying to get off the freeway. The car got T-boned. And now I can tell you once again, the driver, they probably should pull aside and have LAPD stop traffic. What I don't even want this to be so heartening and causing a heartache to those
at the amusement park. This spinning rocket.
To those commuters, he doesn't care about someone getting hurt, and then he doesn't care. He bullies every other commuter that he could get revenge on. I don't even know why. What are they going to do with that suspect? Anybody's in the back seat that's an older Toyota. Nobody's inside that car. One occupant inside that vehicle. And you know what? Really so much of that abuse, that how much more can this car take? Like, oh my God. He could end up killing somebody if he does that. I'm so serious. All that destructive stuff going, I don't want this to be too much at this point. They want this to stop until this pursuit comes to an end. They are on Cedros right now, going to be in the Panorama City area. Right there. I want to get there. What? Oh, sorry. And now this vehicle is in all apartments now, going past that, and now the parking out there on the streets, very packed with intersections. Nobody's involved, and I know nobody's going out there to come chase that individual. Only the LAPD and the police air units, the TV news helicopters, have them overhead and on the ground. So the area, the surface streets in the Panorama City, he's going to get out of that car and run if he's looking for a place to ditch the vehicle to get back on the freeway that he was on. He's been barreling through multiple intersections that evening. Every time he goes one of those intersections, he runs and gets revenge on every commuter. Does not seem to care. Actually damaged. Probably hoping for some flat tires that they haven't seen yet. They want to put out a spike strip, but they need to. Right underneath the 405 freeway, it was earlier on. He's been on the run for a good 30 minutes. He's been on the run for a good 30 to 35 minutes. They've been watching this for the better part of an hour. This pursuit has been going on for about 30 to 35 minutes. He's been on the run for about 30 to 35 minutes. He's been on the run from the police for about 30 to 35 minutes here and there since they started this hour-long chase. This was half an hour ago. This pursuit started. I was at Paxton and Telfair. Then got on the freeway, saw that second crash, and then this pursuit right underneath the 405 freeway. Then it's on, and then one point an older model Toyota Corolla doesn't care. Bullies every other commuters, trying to push things. He's pushing things too far, gone too far. At least the rest of the ambulance checking out the driver and all of these two commuters. This guy was talking to people. They saw this individual slow down, move out of my way, and then you see the driver showboating there like a class clown Indy 500 race car parade tournament. Shocked at this person. This has been going on for about the past 35 minutes or so. And you see the driver slowing down in the Panorama City. He's rolled down that window, hanging out the window. What I could tell you is he is not going to stop. He's making blocks out there on Cedros and Willis. And Cedros and Willis. And Nordoff, that he's going to continue. He's stopping here. Food vendor. And this is what they're saying. If this person has any feeling that this is some sort of a game, he'll go ahead and keep running. He's having some kind of fun. This is not the ones that not of the ones that they saw. So much damage this evening. Thank goodness nobody's seriously injured. And then the whiplash, the collision, causing problems as of this evening. And just in the last few minutes or so, he went from parts of the valley that have wider boulevards and wider streets to area in the last several minutes or so. And a little bit more narrow, he definitely was in an area. There were plenty of apartment buildings that they were back onto Nordoff underneath the 405 freeway, heading back towards the 405 freeway that he was on, that I'm assuming, yes. And I hear it from the closed caption according to their words. Still doing their accident investigation. He'll be charged with hit and run, two counts of hitting motoring vehicles, and he's gonna be back up on the 405 freeway in just a minute or two, and see the damage from the hood that's continued on. Well, I don't even. No, they don't. They do see a problem with that. They're gonna keep up with that vehicle. Wow, almost stopping for this person, waiting for this pedestrian to get out of the way. They have a car coming through. They're trying to set up a spike strip. They want to bring this thing to a peaceful end. And they Sepulveda Boulevard, and he's got back on earlier on. Another street, there's another one. A little bit wider, less than traffic. I do think they have bunching up once they passes the Gardenia, then all those car dealerships that he went past. I think doing some sweeping turns, evasive lane maneuvers, 35 miles an hour, slowing down a bit, obeying traffic rules. They didn't want, God forbid, if anybody was being injured. I could tell that car has been damaged. 2 civilians, 2 innocent people out there hurt, and then it was, they don't know how it was stolen. It was taking some sort of a robber, or straight lost it. Somebody that actually could be something where it's relative, reporting that, somebody that has been, they know that took the car, didn't return it. They were going to be on Roscoe, sweeping turns and then speeding up and then going underneath the railroad tracks and then wider a little bit. I should tell you that this pursuit has been going on for about 40 to 45 minutes. This pursuit has been going on for about 40 to 45 minutes. This pursuit has been going on for about 40 to 45 minutes. Here. This pursuit has been going on for about 45 minutes. Okay, this pursuit has been going on. I'm going to say it again one more time. This pursuit has been going on for about 45 minutes. There, since the police started this chase, they're into an hour-long pursuit. The suspect does not care. This pursuit has been going on for over 40 minutes. At least 40 to 45 minutes. There, since they started this chase, things have calmed down. He's gotten away from the LAPD, and then maybe they were finding a spot so he could park the vehicle and then take off running, carjack another vehicle. You don't want to do that. Tale of this, not just ending. Well, this is where they come through. The first day, he speeds up, then slows down. And then they had mentioned spike strips. This is the first time that they've heard. I've heard that. The spike strip would be deployed as of right now. The individual has been going too fast, and they weren't able to set up ahead of this pursuit. This is the first time that they've seen them try to deploy spike strips. Let's listen now.
In position, but you have to understand too, a driver like this who is swerving into vehicles earlier on, collided with 2 cars that we know of, and then this blatant disregard. Officers, they are paid and trained to do dangerous things. Like, no.
Oh no!
Look at that! And those were kids. So hopefully, you just think that maybe even that driver with no conscience at all will say, wow. So anyway, that was southbound Sepulveda, just through Victory right there, where those children and parents small children and parents were crossing the road. This is one of those ones where you just are like, what is going on? Now you have this a civilian. Might even be challenging this person, or I hope not, because the guy in that other car has no idea what he's dealing with this evening, and this he looks like they did. I'm hearing now that they've completely pulled the plug, meaning that law enforcement, the helicopter is backed off, LAPD on the ground is backed off as well. And this is one of those ones. Hopefully, this driver.
Where is this, dude? Is this like a?
This is going to be Van Owen and Sepulveda. Sorry, Victory and Sepulveda. This is going to be that parking lot right there. That He's going to be making his way. It looks like he's trying to make a left turn onto Victory. So he's actually heading towards downtown Van Nuys. Maybe even no, he's not going to go that way. He's going to be staying on smaller streets.
I thought he was in a strip mall for a second there, then he pulled out back into a street.
He might be pulling home almost, it seems.
Somewhere where he's familiar with,
Anywhere except behind the wheel of that car. That's the only place this person needs to be. And you just hope that it happens before somebody gets hurt. LAPD making that decision right now to really back off, and they have. And the terminology is they pulled the plug, meaning that they are not in pursuit, they're not tracking, they're not following. So we're going to keep an eye on it just to see where this person goes. Making these turns out here, this is definitely going to be the Van Nuys area. In these residential neighborhoods, he's going back out towards Victory. Again, this is a very residential area. I don't know if he knows these areas. I don't know if he's looking for a spot to abandon the vehicle, but right now, just driving slowly. Maybe he's just doubling back to see if the officers really have left. And I can assure you, they have. They are not behind him or even out looking for him right now.
And so, Stu, if he pulls over or stops like he does, what happens then?
Well, the public's safe, and that's going to be a huge plus. There's a person like this, I'm sure he will have a run-in with law enforcement at another time. There's always that odd chance, but right now the helicopter maybe doesn't have another call. When I say the helicopter, I'm talking about LAPD. Going to keep an eye out. This is kind of in the area, so perhaps if he gets out, they'll be able to track him and then get him and maybe just be able to take this person into custody. But definitely challenging other drivers out here on the road this evening as we're on Columbus, which is a smaller street out here in the Van Nuys neighborhood, and continuing just to drive along this evening, driving aggressively, very, very, I'm sorry about that move right there, very, very angry driver. That's about the best way to say it. But just wanted to stop and get out of the car.
Well, Stu, I've got some breaking news here to add to this coverage. In track, talking with the assignment desk here, they're apparently telling me that the driver is in communication with the LAPD now and wants to turn themselves in. So we're wondering why he just doesn't pull over and bring this to an end. But apparently he has been on the phone for a while. It looks now like the window may be rolled down. I do see somebody there, and it looks like he does have something to his ear. So according to our folks here, it seems like he wants to end this, and he's on the phone with LAPD. So that's a new development there.
And I do hear some sirens, Stu. So do you see any squad cars in the area?
I don't see any squad cars in the area. He's pulling into another, I believe that this is a grocery store type of place out here, office of Palvita. You know what, I don't think he can hear us, but Van Nuys Police Department is very, very close by, just a couple of blocks, and he could easily just drive in there, park that vehicle, and go give himself up. He's now communicating with a van that's just not giving him just enough room there. And look, he gave him something. He tossed him something.
Really?
That driver of that van tossed him something, and so I wonder what that was all about. So making another U-turn out here, you can see no officers. Well, there is one at the bottom of the street in the intersection. So right now they are, let's just say, loosely in the area, keeping an eye on that vehicle. And he's stopped there. Maybe he's going to get back out onto the roadway. That's going to be Van Owen near Sepulveda. Right now, though, just kind of moving around slowly. What our assignment does, I'm sure they're getting that information from somewhere, but I can tell you, it definitely looks like he is on the phone. Maybe that's one of the many reasons why he's driving so poorly this evening. Maybe he just doesn't have that ability, and again, it is against the law. Never talk on the phone while you're driving.
Well, it would make sense. He's on the phone, Stu, because the assignment desk says he is on the phone talking to the LAPD about turning himself in, so that's possibly who he's on the phone with.
Yeah. That van seems to be following him. We'll see here in just a moment, or maybe just coincidentally leaving the same area. But you can see the officers from LAPD right there, a couple of the shops, and you can see the lights and sirens. They're going to go talk to that guy in the van. So obviously officers have some information about what's going on. Don't know what that handoff was. I'm very curious. He tossed something into the vehicle there. And continuing back on to Sepulveda Boulevard, this is the area where we saw those children with the parents earlier on. Yeah. So definitely, tension is high. More black and whites in the area, not in pursuit of this vehicle, but definitely cruising. If this does come to an end, I have a feeling that a number of law enforcement will miraculously appear and take this person into custody, as they should.
Yeah, Stu, we just saw that video that you showed us a little while ago. We ranked that video. It was the interchange between the driver of this car and the driver of that white van. You were saying that you saw something being thrown. Here we go. Here's the video again, where it looks like the driver of that van may have tossed something towards the driver's way, but there was some sort of exchange there, and the driver kept going. And as you mentioned, LAPD obviously wanting to talk to that driver. Of course, it's common sense, but you probably shouldn't get involved with a pursuit suspect in the middle of a pursuit. But apparently this person did, and they're going to want to talk to them. Perhaps they have some more information. But last we heard, this driver was on the phone, possibly with the LAPD, wanting to turn himself in. Why he just didn't pull over at the time is still unknown to us, but he has been on the phone for quite a bit, and again, it's a stolen car. We've seen 2 collisions so far tonight. We're into the pursuit now, 45 minutes or so. We picked it up right around 8:30, so we're getting close to the 45-minute mark. And you can see from our Sky 9, here's collision number 1.
This pursuit has been going on for about 50 minutes. This pursuit has been going on for about 50 minutes since the police started this chase. Then almost got T-boned by the LACD bus, but it ain't gonna stop. It stopped. Then the Dank had tossed out of that driver's side window, and at one point the suspect had continued on the continued on the surface streets, teaming up, and then that matching the suspect's speed, and that individual shouldn't be involved. I don't know what he's doing.
Looks like a civilian trying to get involved, basically just kind of matching the speed. This is the thing too.
Thank goodness it doesn't happen. I hope they don't arrest the driver, that civilian here. Without turning himself in, he doesn't seem to care. He does need to care. The driver was on the phone for a period of time, talking on the phone with the police, saying he thinks about turning himself in because he wants to turn himself in. These civilians they have been chasing me. They've been chasing me for about 2 hours or so. Please help me. Okay, we'll try to get them off the road. And then got in touch with the 911. Got in touch with the 911 operator just moments ago, and then made a phone call to the police department. They don't even know why he's done that. Now, almost hitting the pedestrians, and now those commuters are very terrified. Now, what is this individual doing? Coming up onto the 7-Eleven? That he cares. Thank goodness nobody's involved. That black car with the civilian trying to match the speed, talking with the suspect, who says, "Move along, don't worry about me, go worry about yourself and keep doing your pursuit." That's what it is, suspect. That was the person that was getting angry a little bit at that suspect. And then a lot of traffic out there. And then both sides, you could tell, and I'm going to calm it down a bit, he goes close to the 405 freeway, that the accident that they had earlier. There's another intersection like Nordhoff, especially the 405 freeway. They kept an eye on it. Looks like going a little bit against traffic. Then at one point, the other cars were keeping an eye on it at Roscoe several hours ago. And as the memory serves them and serves me, when she's going into the right direction, and according to that, law enforcement vehicle getting back on that car, getting back on his behind tail, they're right on his tail, what I could tell you.
This is another very tight street, and I'm very
Tight street that they're coming up onto a very residential here for in just a moment. And Stewart and not Stewart. He was in Willis and Roscoe earlier on. That information had passed along. Again, who knows what this person must be thinking? Is he crazy, or is he trying to spy around and go torture these victims? It's not cool. They're on a chase here. If he turns on the chase, he's making a turn on the chase. He's going to be making his way back over to that surface streets. 3 bystanders involved. How? A lot of apartment buildings, 4 people out there, 3 people out there talking. Then the suspects talks to those individuals trying to get inside, Wow! Oh my God! This is bizarre and too ridiculous. I can't even imagine. It can't. Hopefully these civilians does not get involved, and then they're being chased by those cops, and they're being chased by those punk individuals. Like the suspect has been a punk. Excuse my language. He's been psycho ever since, crashing into the car. Those headlights were on, and then those civilians trying to talk to the driver, trying to get his attention. Like, is he famous? Throwing an object. What is wrong with the suspect? What is wrong with him? What is the matter with this individual? That's a wake-up call for that driver. Some sort of, like a rebel hero? Like he's like a rebel hero? Red Bull person? Like, I drink Red Bulls. And they have been watching shortly. Things wants to come to an end. Here comes the Corvette. Oh, he better not be involved, he or she. To their point, to their perspective, they're all right there in Roscoe, and they don't use to change the subject that they're on. Passing those car dealerships, they're going to work their way towards the 405 freeway when they have decided. And then they're lighting up the road, passing those car dealerships, and I do not know why. Things have been a little brighter there ever since he's been on the run. There's a pedestrian exchanged a few words with that individual right there and just handed something off. He did. Exact change going on, and then those people out there giving the suspect a reward after causing problems. It was a business card, and we'll leave that for law enforcement trying to figure out, get a phone number, get in touch. Oh, hey, I want to turn myself in, I want to make charges. All of this, definitely on the phone, talking to those people, saw some sort of unlimited plan, talking to those people. He was on the phone for quite some time now, talking to those people, burning up those minutes on those prepaid phone calls that he's made on his smartphone. What is the guy doing? Thinking it's like, why is the suspect doing? He's on a wide intersection. Oh no! Oh, they don't know if he's impaired. Here comes the truck. This individual has no business behind that car. They have no business behind that individual. They need to try to put this thing to an end, and then to just think to yourself, hey, that anybody's out there in the public and any civilian person is not going to risk damage to their vehicles. And it's a bad idea. He's not going to be ramming that vehicle. They don't want to get involved. They do not want to be involved. And look at this. This is the problem. Stopping that vehicle is just one piece of him going into custody, and they're making people mad out there. And so that one pedestrian trying to throw something at the car, still in pursuit. I don't even know what he's doing. Then I don't know what they're doing. I don't even understand Why would they do something at the suspect that's stolen in a beat up stolen car, so physical and then crucial? It's like cruel, and it's so brutal for these people to be involved and then and abuse the suspect. No, this is unacceptable behavior. My God, getting involved. That truck needs to stop and let this car continue. They have no right to be chasing that individual unless they're a good Samaritan in that bank robbery pursuit. Now, we're going to get to that in a bit of that 2014 E-Class from Mercedes-Benz. We'll get to that tomorrow. That's the case, maybe. I do think so. I do want to see... Oh my God. How much more can they take? Two of them feeding off at each other, and then trying to get this guy on the back, helping them out, and then he thinks it's cool. They never have seen anything like this. Then that person was armed, and then that kind of a mental state. What is his deal? What's his problem? Does he have a problem? Does he have a mind of his? Does this second individual has a mind of its own? He doesn't want to let go of this pursuit. Traffic is getting thicker and thicker. I don't even care. This erratic driving, slow driving. There, nobody wants to pass that car. Nobody wants to leave the suspect alone. They need to leave the suspect alone. And this is so bizarre. Bothering, annoying that suspect, not cool. You don't want to be in that crossfire, folks. They don't want to be doing this. This is like a correct doing that this guy in the truck. You don't want to see them get hurt. You could give him some advice. If he's on the phone, another thing or two, he might be on the phone with the police or 911 operators. That I do not care. They do care. They do not get it. They do not need to get in. They do not engage this guy. They need to back off because this is so embarrassing. Bizarre pursuits that I do not see. Why they don't see any squad cars chasing him. It's been called off for safety reasons, and this vehicle continues on driving slow, 20 miles an hour, and then I don't even know why. This is a pursuit in San Fernando Valley. They're watching this unfold in the last several minutes or so, in the last 65, 70 minutes or so. That's the stolen car had been following by the police at first, and then one point the suspect had continued on. And then 1 minute, and then a minute or two later, then a minute later, a minute, and a minute or two later, the individual in that black truck tries to chase that suspect. And it must be an LAPD. Is an undercover car? No, it's not an undercover car. It's a Ram Dodge truck, pickup truck. And like he wants to be conducting himself. If that's an off-duty officer, they've told the officers to back off. There would be no reason that he'd be brought in trouble by that person, that bystander, trying to bother the suspect. Does not seem to care whatsoever. And a little silver Corvette that made a turn, minding its own beeswax whatsoever. So they saw that on Lagoon just a few minutes ago, and then a moment ago he was out there. Some other folks out there trying to throw objects at that individual. One of them, they should be charged for interfering, obstruction. Same with the suspects. Now, same with the individuals. They're trying to bother that suspect in that stolen, beat-up Toyota Camry. That's a compact, mid-sized car. And like they're gonna be in the borderline Mission Hills. Definitely on that truck, following along. They don't know what's going to happen, what the plan is. And you see somebody in there in the rear view mirror, in someone's behind you, ramming your luxury car. That's a bad idea. That's a big no-no. You shouldn't be involved. They should not be involved in this pursuit. Then cut them up in the near gas station. And then they the corner of Roscoe, Sepulveda, earlier on, just half an hour ago. And then driving had become a little bit more subdued and calm, and things had quieted down a bit. And then this is not fun. This is not funny at all. These are all homes right there. This is unacceptable behavior. So they're gonna make themselves known to that suspect. In just a moment or two, they're gonna keep an eye on it. Probably they're gonna see the reds and blues once again. They're at tracking mode, and then this one, too very obnoxious, that suspect that they're telling. The LAPD make their appearance, known as there in the San Fernando Valley, and then residential streets lined with cars on both sides. A lot of more narrow streets, a lot darker streets whatsoever. And then the driver has been quite a bit erratic driving that night, known as tonight, and known as that. Welcome back, everybody. It's been cooled down for several hours now. For the past several hours, my phone was overheated. It interrupted my live stream since, as of usual, this pursuit had been underway for about 70 to 75, 80 minutes. And then it went on for about 90 minutes now, 85 to 90 minutes. This pursuit has been going on for about 85 to 90 minutes. See that the police units are going to catch up to those two individuals. That's the truck who started this. Trying to annoy the suspect, trying to irritate him, and then it's irritating the suspect. This is the problem that we ever seen over and over again. And as usual, then non-stop happens. What's the big deal? He doesn't care. And the safety of the innocent, of the bystanders, that they do need to care, and they're trying to re-engage this pursuit of two. Like, wow, looks like they're getting back up and monitoring this closely. That black truck took it upon himself, and they pursued his stolen car, and this driver that they've seen do some really erratic moves, trying to annoy everybody. There comes the news agency van that was right there, the news van that was stopping. They don't chase people. They watch and pull over and capture this on tape. And then officers from the LAPD, they're not giving it away. These people are not giving it away. The officers from LAPD have to deal with two suspects. The driver of that black truck had caused this. He's the one that started this. And this one started this, that caused abused two commuters and insulted everybody, doesn't care about no one. And I could tell you, all he wants to do is try and do a pit maneuver. Let the LAPD officers do it. To say the least, and the law enforcement that doesn't seem to be making any effort to block him. Maybe he's going to try to cut him off right here. No, this is why you don't steal it from suspects that's on the run. Don't steal it from the suspects. That's why, oh my God, so to speak, what are they doing? This truck and that back tire, it looks like on the truck now. This pursuit has been going on for about 100 minutes. This pursuit has been going on for about 95 to 100 minutes since the police started this chase, and then all the way from, or you're seeing this police pursuit continued on. He would not want to damage his own vehicle, and then this stolen car, and then those bystanders taking videos of individuals with cell phones, and then the LAPD officers got their guns drawn. They want to get this to back off, and they want to. And now, why he calls the cops, he turns himself in. That's the problem. A huge problematic person. They brought relatives out. Oh my God, what is this individual doing? They're convincing him, talking to him, giving up peacefully. That's advocating for yourself. And you know what? much kinder, gentler for those LAPD units. Wow, after all of this evening, taking them into custody, and this caused a problem. Now it's been going on for almost 2 hours or so. So this has been going on for about 2 hours or so. The LAPD units, wow, looks like a shots fired suspect. Looks like a shots fired pursuit. That LAPD pursuit, the police pursuit, has been on for about the past 2 hours or so. It's been going on for the past 2.5 hours or so since they started this chase. This has to come to an end right now. Looks like a tennis match. That's the one that's trying to be involved in trying to get into suspect's business, and then trying to get into that individual in that black truck caused problems. That they were part of this, and that car caused the gray car caused problems during the course of this pursuit. It came to an end, and then this whole disaster, total drama, and they've been following this for several hours, for about 2 hours. They've been following this now for about 2.5 hours since the police started this hours-long chase. The officers wants to talk to him. He's got involved once the police arrived.
This guy took off, but look at this.
They want to apprehend this suspect, and then the guy was wanted for trying to get involved. Pursuit for recipe there from here on out. Now cooperating. 2 suspects, they're trying to convince the relatives in that black car to give up. And as you can see, he's in trouble. These 2 have been in trouble. One, causing problems, irritating the suspect, and then trying to steal it from the suspect. That was not cool. They corralled him into the area, and he couldn't get out of the way, while other officers could make an approach. The suspect caused problems, crashed 2 cars. Total lunatic, psychopath chaos. They want help with information, intellectual ideas, but as far as getting involved in the pursuit, this is what's going to go on. As we have told, suspects never gets involved. That he might be talking to, the kind of a punishment for that suspect cost. He's not getting a punishment, a little punishment. The suspect is getting a big punishment after a stolen, beat up car, and it crashed 2 cars, got on the 405 freeway, and the stolen, beat up car stopped, and now they're yanking him out. They want to talk him through to this whatsoever. This 2 suspects, 2 individuals in custody that we can tell you. The reputation in the county has run deep for the past several centuries, for the past several decades or so. This is what's happening in the last 5 or so, not 5 or so years, I said. In the last several hours, that pursuit got very interesting. Let's listen.
And just seconds ago, we saw him being put into handcuffs. So proof there that no good deed goes unpunished. At least this guy tried to help things out tonight, and
I know he's trying to help things out and trying to hear with the suspect annoying
now
him.
being put into handcuffs. At least till cops figure out what the heck's going on here, right?
What is the problem? What is the matter with you? What is wrong with
sort
you?
things out. Want to make sure that he is as righteous as he apparently appeared to be, to do all that, and they'll probably the cuffs are on him now.
Yeah.
They may take him off, but again, it depends on who he is and what past that person has. But definitely, it can't say it enough. Do not get involved in any kind of dangerous situation, especially with law enforcement.
And we did see them search his truck. They did go over and look to make sure that there wasn't anybody else inside or no weapons. So most likely they are going to talk to him and try to figure out what he was doing, why did he get involved, and who knows what's going to happen. Hopefully we'll continue to follow the story tomorrow and see what happens. Because
Don't follow the story the next day. As of 6 or 7 years ago, in 2019.
Nothing like this.
2019.
Somebody's giving us in a black pickup truck there in the San Fernando.
Probably thought he was doing something good, and now he's quickly learning that what he did was not
so very good at all.
Not so very good at all.
There's a camera crew.
All right, so this pursuit started around 8:30.
And then ended at 9:37. There's a camera crew involved in that pursuit. And then as all the top stories, what went on. And I know this got so chaotic and it's so bizarre. Things had gotten out of control. Things went out of control. And things went out of hand and got out of line. And all of a sudden, there was acting like protesters, acting like these people wanting to stop and throw things at the stolen beat up car. It's already damaged. And then the driver of that Corvette was minding his or herself. That driver of that silver Corvette, of that Chevrolet Corvette, that was minding his or her own self. And at one point, the black truck, the driver of that black truck had learned his lesson. He had learned his lesson not to be involved. Then the suspect will learn his lesson as a corporal punishment, according to their words, crashing 2 cars, taken into custody. 2. Now, I wonder what's next. The robbery pursuit of that 2014 Mercedes-Benz E350 sports sedan. So there you have it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Comment down below. Take care. And the moral of the story before I wrap this up, do not try to be involved in this pursuit. Do not try to get involved. Do not try to lend a helping hand in the middle of the night. The moral of the story is, do not try to be involved. The lesson will be learned as of for now on. As from this point on, they're not gonna get away from police, and from now on, they're gonna make sure they keep the motoring public safe and to stop traffic whatsoever. And now they are moving along. You could see it's done. It's over it. It's over with. It is over with. It's over with. It's done. It's getting out of control. It's very, very distraught. It's so frightening that it's too much drama. So in fact, see you in a couple of minutes. See you in about 3 minutes. See you in a couple of minutes. Have a great one. See ya.